The protagonist of our story is a little boy named Carl Miller, living in a quiet English town surrounded by deep woods. He was an inquisitive child, always seeking adventure. Every morning, Carl would set off on his bicycle to explore the mysterious trails of the woods, discovering new and intriguing places. However, one sunny morning, Carl didn't return home. His parents, Mark and Amelia, grew worried as the night fell, and Carl was still nowhere to be found. They immediately reported his disappearance to the police. The authorities launched a search operation, combing through the wooded areas. Local residents also joined the effort, circulating Carl's photographs and posting announcements in newspapers and social media. The community was shocked and deeply concerned about the young boy's disappearance. Everyone hoped and prayed for his safe return. Days turned into weeks, but there was no sign of Carl. The once peaceful town was now gripped by fear and uncertainty. Rumors and speculations started circulating. Some believed Carl had wandered off and gotten lost, while others feared something more sinister might have happened. As the investigation continued, the police interviewed Carl's friends, teachers, and anyone who had seen him in the days leading up to his disappearance. They searched his room for any clues that could shed light on his whereabouts. The community organized candlelight vigils and held public meetings to offer support to Carl's distraught family. Deep in the woods, search teams ventured further, following faint trails and listening intently for any sounds that might lead them to the missing boy. The dense foliage, eerie silence, and shifting shadows only intensified the unsettling atmosphere. During their search, the authorities discovered a few abandoned campsites and old structures deep within the woods. Some believed they might hold clues to Carl's disappearance. Investigators meticulously examined these areas, collecting evidence and documenting everything they found. Amelia couldn't bear the agony of not knowing what happened to her son. She spent countless sleepless nights searching online for missing children cases that had been resolved, hoping to find a glimmer of hope. Mark, on the other hand, threw himself into supporting the search efforts, determined to find his son. Weeks turned into months, and the search for Carl continued. The media coverage gradually dwindled, but the resolve of Carl's family and the dedicated search teams remained unshaken. They knew they couldn't give up until they found the truth about what happened to the young boy who had ventured into the deep woods and vanished without a trace. Months had passed since Carl's disappearance, and the town remained haunted by the unsolved mystery. The woods, once a place of serene beauty, now carried a sense of foreboding. As time went on, some began to lose hope, accepting the tragic possibility that Carl might never be found. But then, on a chilly autumn morning, a breakthrough occurred. A hiker stumbled upon a tattered backpack hidden beneath a dense thicket deep in the woods. It was Carl's backpack. Excitement and trepidation filled the air as the authorities rushed to the scene. Inside the backpack, they found Carl's belongings: his favorite toy, a worn-out notebook filled with sketches, and a half-eaten sandwich. The discovery fueled the investigation, rekindling the determination of the search teams and revitalizing the hope in Carl's parents' hearts. The police conducted a thorough forensic examination of the backpack and its contents. Traces of DNA were discovered, but it provided no immediate leads. Meanwhile, volunteers and trained professionals redoubled their efforts, meticulously scouring the woods, venturing into the most remote corners. Days turned into weeks once again, and the town held its breath, awaiting news. Then, one fateful evening, a group of volunteers stumbled upon a hidden clearing deep within the woods. There, beneath a canopy of ancient trees, they found a makeshift shelter constructed from branches and tattered fabric. As they cautiously approached the shelter, they heard a faint whimpering sound. Heart racing, they pushed aside the branches and discovered Carl, dirty and emaciated but alive. The joy and relief that washed over the search party were indescribable. Carl was quickly reunited with his family, who had never given up hope. In the following days, he was examined by doctors and psychologists, and it became apparent that he had endured a harrowing ordeal. Carl could only provide fragmented memories of what had transpired during his time in the deep woods. It seemed that Carl had indeed become lost in the vast expanse of trees and had stumbled upon the hidden clearing. Frightened and alone, he had fashioned the shelter as a desperate attempt to survive. The details of how he had managed to survive for so long remained a mystery. The community rejoiced at Carl's safe return, celebrating the resilience of a young boy who had braved unimaginable circumstances. The search efforts were hailed as a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of a united community. In the aftermath of Carl's return, the town underwent a collective healing process. Residents came together to support each other and to ensure that such a tragedy would never happen again. The deep woods, once a place of wonder and adventure, now carried a somber reminder of the importance of vigilance and safety. And so the story of Carl's disappearance and his subsequent return became a cautionary tale, etched into the town's history, reminding everyone of the enduring power of hope, resilience, and the importance of cherishing every moment with loved ones. Oliver, a curious and adventurous young man, had always been intrigued by the mysteries of the world. His fascination led him to explore different places, seeking out the truth hidden beneath the surface. One particular topic that had captured his attention was the dark forest that lay on the outskirts of his town. Legends and rumors surrounded the forest, making it an intriguing enigma that Oliver was determined to unravel. The forest was notorious for its dense foliage, eerie silence, and an unsettling atmosphere that sent shivers down the spines of those who ventured inside. Locals believed that the forest held a dark secret, as numerous people who had dared to enter had never returned. Oliver's desire to solve the mystery and confront his fears drove him to venture into the heart of the forbidding woodland. On a misty autumn morning, Oliver stood at the edge of the dark forest, his heart pounding with anticipation and trepidation. With a deep breath, he took his first step into the unknown. The thick undergrowth impeded his progress, and the tangled branches seemed to reach out to him, as if warning him to turn back. But Oliver pressed on, determined to uncover the truth. As he delved deeper into the forest, the atmosphere grew increasingly unsettling. The sunlight struggled to penetrate the thick canopy overhead, casting eerie shadows that seemed to dance among the trees. The silence was deafening, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves or the distant hoot of an owl. Oliver's senses were on high alert as he felt a strange presence enveloping him. He couldn't shake off the feeling that he was being watched, as if unseen eyes were peering out from the darkness. Despite the unease creeping up his spine, he pushed forward, driven by an insatiable curiosity. Hours turned into days as Oliver continued his journey through the treacherous forest. Every step brought him closer to the heart of the mystery, but it also deepened the sense of foreboding that hung in the air. He couldn't help but question whether he had made a grave mistake by embarking on this perilous quest. One evening, as the sun began its descent, Oliver stumbled upon a clearing bathed in an eerie glow. In the center stood an old, dilapidated cabin, its weathered boards creaking under the weight of time. The door, partially ajar, beckoned him to enter. Oliver hesitated, weighing his options, but the burning desire to uncover the truth pushed him forward. With trembling hands, he pushed the door open, revealing a dimly lit interior. The air was heavy with the scent of decay and abandonment. As Oliver cautiously stepped inside, he noticed an old journal lying on a dusty table, its pages worn and yellowed with age. With curiosity overpowering his fear, he began to read the haunting words within. The journal belonged to a previous resident of the cabin, a man who had once been consumed by the same obsession to uncover the secrets of the dark forest. Page after page revealed his descent into madness, his fear and paranoia intensifying with each entry. The man described strange occurrences, unexplained phenomena, and encounters with an elusive figure that seemed to haunt him relentlessly. Oliver's heart raced as he realized he was treading the same path as the previous occupant of the cabin. The hairs on the back of his neck stood on end, and a cold sweat trickled down his forehead. He couldn't ignore the warning signs any longer. The forest had claimed another victim, and it was now closing in on him. Fear gripped Oliver's heart, but he refused to succumb to the same fate as the previous explorer. With newfound determination, he decided to retrace his steps and find his way out of the treacherous forest. However, the forest seemed to have other plans for him. As Oliver made his way back through the dense undergrowth, a thick fog rolled in, engulfing the forest in a blanket of white. Panic set in as he realized he had lost his sense of direction. Every step he took led him deeper into the heart of the dark forest, further away from the safety of civilization. Hours turned into days, and Oliver's body weakened from exhaustion and hunger. He had almost given up hope when he stumbled upon an old, dilapidated cabin, much like the one he had previously encountered. Desperation and a glimmer of familiarity compelled him to enter. Inside, he discovered remnants of a forgotten life: a rusty bed frame, broken furniture, and rotting food. The cabin's walls whispered stories of despair and isolation, reminding Oliver of the man from the journal. He couldn't help but wonder if he, too, would be doomed to wander this forest until his last breath. Just as hope began to fade, Oliver noticed something peculiar. Hidden within the decaying walls, he found a small weathered map that appeared to mark a path leading out of the forest. It was his lifeline, his only chance for survival. Renewed by a surge of determination, he clutched the map tightly and ventured back into the forest. The forest seemed to have intensified its efforts to keep Oliver captive. Whispers echoed through the trees, branches tugged at his clothing, and unseen forces tried to disorient him. But he pressed on, fueled by a desperate desire to escape. Days turned into weeks as Oliver navigated the labyrinthine paths of the dark forest, following the faded lines on the map. Hunger gnawed at his insides, and fatigue weighed heavily on his weary body, but he refused to surrender. Each step brought him closer to the edge of the forest, closer to freedom. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Oliver emerged from the dense foliage, blinking in disbelief at the sunlight that bathed his face. The dark forest released its hold on him, granting him a hard-won reprieve. Exhausted but victorious, he stumbled back into the safety of his town, forever changed by his harrowing ordeal. Oliver's story spread like wildfire through the town, capturing the imaginations of its inhabitants. Some dismissed it as a mere tale spun by an overactive imagination, while others saw it as a cautionary tale of the dangers that lurked in the shadows. The dark forest remained an enigma, a place of fear and fascination that continued to haunt the dreams of those who dared to ponder its mysteries. Oliver, now a wiser man, carried the weight of the forest with him. The experience had transformed him, instilling in him a newfound respect for the power of nature and the unknown. He became a voice of caution, warning others of the treacherous darkness that lay just beyond the town's borders. And as for the dark forest, it stood as a silent sentinel, forever guarding its secrets, forever tempting those who sought to unravel its mysteries. But its true nature remained hidden, its depths concealing the answers to questions that perhaps should never be answered.